Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshadharine Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasati Gaura Bhaktarinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasati Gaura Bhaktarinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasati Gaura Bhaktarinda Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai, Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Nitai Sachisundara, Nitai Sachisundara. Nitai Sachishunda Jaya, Nitai Sachishunda Jaya, Nitai Sachishundara, Nitai Sachishunda, Nitai Sachishunda Jaya, Nitai Sachishunda Jaya Giri Govardhan, Giri Govardhan, Jaya Giri Govardhan, Jaya Giri Govardhan. Giri Govardhan, Giri Govardhan, Jai Giri Govardhan, Jaya Giri Govardhan, Jai Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Prabhupada Jai. Jaya Prabhupada Jai. Jaya Prabhupada. 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 Jai Shri Shinittai Sakhi Sundar Sikitai Giriraj Govindan Gitai Srila Prabhupada Gitai Gaudam Premanandi Hari Hari Bol. Welcome. Welcome Divandra. Welcome Prakash, Delhi. And Amit disappeared. He was there. I'm sure he will come back. Some problems maybe, getting from his mobile to his computer. So, what shall we talk tonight? It's a famous question. Anyone? Any suggestion? Bhagavad Gītā. What chapter? Which verse? No? Dharm. Any suggestion? Yes. Here you are.
Okay, the last one.
18th chapter?
The last chapter.
Which is the 18th chapter, is the last chapter of the Gita, yes.
Yeah, the first text.
Text. (18). Text which?
I just choose a random one. Choose the first one. First.
18.1.
Yeah, 18.1. I'm choosing a random one.
Okay, let's have a look. Okay, nice. Nice. Let's share that screen. Very nice question by Arjuna. Welcome back, Amit. Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We are reading. We're not reading yet. We'll be reading in a minute. We are reading from Bhagavad Gītā, chapter 18, text 1. Arjuna is asking a very interesting question. So let's see. Amit, do you want to do the Sanskrit?
Yeah, Prabhu, I can do it. Yeah.
Are you on the laptop or on the mobile?
I'm just going on. I'm just on my mobile at the minute. I just want to change to my laptop. My connection is going in and out. That's why I have to come out.
Always going in and out, it appears like.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Go ahead. Arjuna Uvacha.
Uvacha. Sannyasa. Arjuna Uvacha.
Yes. Better Uvacha, not Uvacha. Yes. Uvacha.
Uvacha.
Not you. Uvacha.
Uvacha. Arjuna Uvacha. Sannyasi Mahobahu. Tattvam Ichchami Veditam. Tyagasya Chehiriskese. Vitakesi Nisudana.
Yes, you still do chair is cha. Cha.
Cha.
Like
Cha.
halava. Halava. You know halava? The sweet preparation? Cha. And is sannyas. Sannyasasya. Sannyasasya. Yeah, your Sanskrit is getting better and better all the time. Very impressive.
Thank you. Thank you, Prabhu.
Translation.
Okay. Arjuna said, Almighty Armed One, I wish to understand the purpose of renunciation, tyaga, and of the renounced order of life, sannyasa. O killer of the Kesi demon, master of the senses.
Interpret.
Actually, the Bhagavad Gītā is finished in 17 chapters. The 18th chapter is supplementary summarization of the topics discussed before. In every chapter of the Bhagavad Gītā, Lord Krishna stresses that devotional services unto the Supreme Personality Godhead is the ultimate goal of life. This same point is summarized in the 18th chapter as the most confidential path of knowledge. In the first 6 chapters, stress was given to devotional service. Yoginam api sarvesam. Baba, just 1 minute. I'm just going to change over to my laptop.
Okay, so maybe.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Are you changed?
Hello, Krishna Prabhu. Can you hear me?
Yes, come close. Carry on of all yogis. You
Hello,
got
Krishna Prabhu. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I can't hear you.
Why not?
1 minute. Let me come back in again.
Something wrong on your side. Dharm, can you hear me?
Yes. Sorry, Prabhu, I can hear you now. Yes.
Yes, okay, sorted.
Okay, right.
Yoginam api sarvesham. After that, you want to continue of all
Okay.
yogis.
Of all yogis or transcendentalists, one who only thinks of me within himself is best. In the next 6 chapters, pure devotional service and its nature and activity were discussed. In the third 6 chapters, knowledge, renunciation, and activity of the material nature and transcendental nature and devotional services were described. It was concluded that all acts should be performed in conjunction with the Supreme Lord, represented by the words Om Tat Tat, which indicates Vishnu, the Supreme Person. The third part of Bhagavad Gītā has shown that devotional service and nothing else is the ultimate purpose of life. This has been established by citing past acharyas and the Brahma-sutra, the Vedanta-sutra. Certain impersonalists consider themselves to have a monopoly in the knowledge of Vedanta-sutra. The Vedanta-sutra is meant for understanding devotional service, for the Lord himself is composed of the Vedanta-sutra, and he is the knower. That is described in the 15th chapter. In every scripture, every Veda, devotional service is the objective. In Bhakti. As in the 2nd chapter, a synopsis of the whole subject matter was described. In the 18th chapter, also the summary of all instruction is given. The purpose of life is indicated to be the renunciation and attain their transcendental position above the three material modes of nature. Arjuna wants to clarify the two distinct subject matters of Bhagavad Gītā, namely renunciation, yaga, and the renounced Lord of life, sannyasa. Thus he is asking the meaning of these two words. Two words used in this verse just the Supreme Lords. Hirishkesa.
Rishikesha.
Rishikesa. And Kesa.
Keshi.
Nishi. Nisunda. Dana.
Nishudana.
Nishudana. Kesi Nishudana. Are significant. Rishikesa. Sorry, how do you say that again?
Rishikesha.
Rishi. It's a silent H. Rishi Kesa is Krishna, the master of all senses, who can always help us attain mental serenity. Arjuna requests him to summarize everything in such a way that he can remain equipoised. Yet he has no doubts, and doubts are always compared to demons. He therefore addresses Krishna as yes,
Keshi.
Yeshi. Nishudana.
Yes, Nishudana. Yeah. Keshi Nishudana.
Kesi Nishudana. Kesi was most formidable demon who was killed by the Lord. Now Arjuna is expecting Krishna to kill the demon of doubt.
Okay. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Is that translation again? Arjuna said, O mighty armed one, I wish to understand the purpose of renunciation, tyaga, and of the renounced order of life, sannyasa, O killer of the Keshi, demon, master of the senses. So, Arjuna is asking a question. He is addressing Krishna as a killer of the Keshi demon. There has been a Keshi demon in the form of a donkey, in the form of an ass. And he wanted to harm Krishna. But Krishna took his fist and punched him into the mouth. And his fist expanded and suffocated the Keshi demon. So Srila Prabhupada says it's significant that Arjuna is addressing Krishna, O killer of the Keshi demon. Keshi Nishudana. That is the Sanskrit, Keshi Nishudana, killer of the Keshi demon. Why? Because Arjuna, he has some doubts throughout Bhagavad Gītā, and we all have doubts. Doubts are natural at the beginning stages of Krishna consciousness. And even at the more advanced stages, still there can be some doubts rearing their head. So when doubts are coming, these doubts need to be addressed. That's important. Not let them linger in our mind and consciousness, but we should address those doubts. Even Advaitacharya, the great Advaitacharya, the Panchatattva, Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktarinda. So Panchatattva, Advaita, he had some doubt. He couldn't understand a Bhagavad Gītā verse. Particular verse, I don't remember which verse it was. So he had some doubt. He couldn't really understand. So he prayed, and it tortured him in his mind to fully understand the full purport of this Bhagavad Gītā verse. It went around his mind all day long, for many days. And then one night, Lord Chaitanya appeared to him in a dream. And he said, Advaita, why you have all these doubts? I will dispel your doubts. You wait, you will see me and dispel all your doubts. So later on, because Advaitacharya, at the beginning he was not sure that Nimai Pandit is actually, Lord Chaitanya is Nimai Pandit. He was known as Nimai Pandit. Pandit is a wise, learned person. And Nimai was his name given to him at birth because he was born under a neem tree. Neem trees are quite common, at least in Bengal, and they're very useful. Neem leaves are very bitter. They are a medicine. Neem tea. You can even get here if we search for it. Neem tea. And they have many medical use. So in India generally, the people brushing their teeth in the morning. Not only in India, everywhere is brushing their teeth. But in India, you see in the early morning people standing in front of their houses and they're brushing their teeth. In front, outside, in front of their houses. Very interesting. And how they're brushing their teeth? They don't have a toothbrush. That is Western luxury. Useful or not that useful. What they're doing in India, in Bengal, and said breaking a twig of the neem tree. That's a very bitter, astringent property. So they're breaking a twig of the neem tree, and then they're chewing on that neem tree until that twig becomes at the end just like a brush, just like a toothbrush. And then they're brushing the teeth with that neem twig. No toothpaste needed. The neem has antibacterial properties. And just with that neem stick in the mouth, it takes longer than our brushing teeth in just 3-5 minutes. Take probably, I could imagine it will take 20 minutes. To stand in front of the houses, they can then spit on the ground as well, outside. And there is a neem twig, chewing on it and brushing that. But that is neem. Lord Chaitanya, he was born under such a neem tree. Therefore, some suggested to give him the name Nimai. Nimai, because of the neem tree. Others suggested he could be called Vishvamba, the maintainer of the universe, Vishvamba. Prakashkam, okay. Why Vishvamba? Because when there was a prediction that a Brahmin will appear, or a great personality will appear in a Brahmin family, and when he appears, all these years of famine will come to an end. Because at the time there was a famine. There was not enough rain, and the fields didn't produce very well. So they called Lord Chaitanya Vishwamba because they thought this could be, or this is, that personality who is maintaining everything. Maintaining, and then the crops will grow again. And in fact, when Lord Chaitanya appeared, the famine came to an end. So they said, oh, that is a very wonderful sign. Let's give him the name Vishwamba. So he got both names, Nimai and Vishwamba. And that is a neem tree. So Srila Prabhupada explains that these doubts, well, later, get back to the story, later, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared in front of him. So Advaitacharya, he had some doubts. Who is this Nimai? Some said, this is a supreme person. Others said, he's a big scholar. He's an extraordinary person. And Lord Chaitanya was extremely beautiful. Extremely beautiful. All his facial features, long arms, everything proportionate on his body, beautifully formed. But Advaitacharya, he had some doubt. So when Lord Chaitanya, when he met Lord Chaitanya said, Advaita, I know your dream, and I will reveal the true meaning of this Bhagavad Gītā verse. And he did. And then, yes, Advaita Acharya could see that this is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. How can he know about my dream? So doubts. Anyone can have doubts. But doubts need to be addressed. Otherwise they will fester. And they will eat away from our faith. So one should ask senior devotees, advanced devotees, if one has any doubt. And they will oblige and address those doubts and put them to rest. So therefore, Arjuna is addressing Krishna as Keshi Nishudana, killer of the Keshi demon. Because these demons of doubts he wanted to address. So he asked here, in this verse, we want to understand the purpose of renunciation, tyaga. That's important. What is the purpose of renunciation? Sometimes people think renunciation in itself is a purpose. Sometimes devotees, particularly new devotees, think following the regulative principles, no meat, fish, eggs, no illicit sexual connection, no gambling, no intoxication. This is a goal of Krishna consciousness. Sometimes new devotees, neophyte devotees, that think like that. That these principles are all in all. And to be established on those principles is called sadhana. So there are sadhana vasis. All they're fighting so hard to follow these principles, which is at the beginning very hard, to give up meat, fish, and eggs, to give up intoxication, including tea, coffee, chocolate, all of that, to give up any gambling, lottery, or any speculative activities, to give up illicit sexual connection. Oh, how hard is that? And to give up, to establish these four principles. So, because it appears at the beginning so hard, you think that's a goal. The goal of Krishna consciousness is to follow these 4 principles. But it's not. That's not the goal. It's even an offense if we follow the rules and regulations for the sake of following the rules and regulations. Some do. They don't understand, or they have forgotten that to follow these rules and regulations, there is a purpose behind. They follow these rules and regulations for the sake of following, and they seem to be very proud. I'm following these rules and regulations. And you should also follow. In fact, they preach to others, you must follow these rules. That is a goal of life, to follow these 4 rules. But they're very lenient with themselves, very lax with themselves, and very strict with everybody else. That's not the idea. The idea is to be very strict with oneself and very lenient and tolerant with others. This way around. So what is the purpose of these rules and regulations? The purpose is to cut the head of the serpents, of the senses, to cut down these 4 pillars of sinful life, because it is sinful activities to break any of these 4 principles. There are many more other sinful activities, but these are the main sinful activities. So in order to develop Krishna consciousness, first of all, we have to stop sinful activities, not commit them again and again. Not, as Srila Prabhupada has many times mentioned, not like the Christians. They commit sinful activities and then on Saturdays going to the priest in the church and confess their sins. I have had illicit sexual connection. I took intoxication. I was also gambling, and I have been smoking and drinking and intoxication and so many sinful activities. I confess. Very powerful thing to confess one's shortcomings. And then the priest listens to all of that on the other side of the screen, a screen where you cannot see the other person, but you can speak through, because one doesn't want to be too personal. So the priest doesn't know what person is on the other side of the cubicle, and the sinner doesn't know which priest is. Of course, he may recognize the priest by the voice. And then at the end of that confession, the priest says some prayers, and one's sinful activities are forgiven on behalf of Lord Jesus Christ, of course, the Guru in Christianity. And then the sinner goes out of church and feels so much lighter. My sins have been forgiven. Hallelujah. Haribol. Wonderful. It feels good. But due to bad habits, same day or next day, he starts sinning again. The same things, sinning again. And then Saturday after, he goes again to the priest. His sins are forgiven. The priest as an intermediary with God. And then he starts sinning again. So it's a constant cycle of sinning and being forgiven, and sinning and forgiveness. So therefore Srila Prabhupada said, don't become like the Christians. Your sins can be forgiven once, twice, thrice. But then you cannot sin again. Because if you do, you're not serious. You have to change your ways of life. Not again and again and again. That's not accepted. That's a great offense. To commit sinful activities on the strength of chanting Hare Krishna. We know chanting Hare Krishna will eliminate all our karma. But if we sin, we break these principles, we commit sinful activities, and then we take it lightly, oh, I just chant Hare Krishna. And then my karmic slate will be cleared again. This mentality is a great offense. So the Christians do the same. I have been absolved of my sins and now I can just carry on sinning. And next Saturday, I go to the priest and being absolved again, and then I start sinning again. So this is despicable activity. One has to stop sinful activities. And moreover, well, you might ask, how do I know? I've been brought up from a Christian background. I know these things. And I have personally experienced these things. I have been an altar boy, and so on and so on. So I have personal, quite close experience. What's going on? It's a congregation and confessing one's sins and all of that. So one has to put a stop to sinful activities. Therefore, at the beginning, devotees, to protect themselves really, and their little faith. They have very little faith. In the beginning, devotees have very little faith. Just a little bit of faith. In order to protect this faith, they have to demonize everything else. Because they're putting a distance between themselves and their little faith. They have to fence in the faith, so to speak. They have to build a fence around their faith that they can keep that faith. And everybody and everything outside that fence is demonized. Also, Lord Jesus Christ, and Srila Prabhupada repeated that many times in his preaching, he explained, hates the sin, not the sinner. Big difference. Hates the sin, not the sinner. The sinner, he cannot help it. So, but the sin, we can hate the sin. But these new and neophyte devotees, they hate the sin and hate the sinner to protect their faith. So therefore, new devotees can be quite fanatical, sectarian also. Very important. Sectarianism comes in here. New devotees can be very sectarian. Only I and my group are the true devotees. Everybody else is not a true devotee. Or it manifests also in you cannot go to any other group. You cannot go. Only ISKCON. If you're not ISKCON, you will go to hell, so to speak. Don't go to a temple who is not ISKCON. This is fanaticism and this is sectarianism, which Srila Prabhupada has condemned. We are not sectarian, we are not fanatic. Now, if that devotee who is very sectarian at the beginning and fanatical, if he matures in his Krishna consciousness, and that can take time, 10 years plus. I have seen just at recent Ratha Yatra, I've seen several devotees, with the time is passing by, they have been, to various degrees, a bit fanatical. And seeing them again this year at Ratha Yatra, oh, a change has overcome them. They have mellowed. They have become so much more approachable, so much more sweet, that streak of fanaticism has disappeared. Right? Because that streak of fanaticism is at the beginning of our Krishna conscious journey, easily. Not everyone necessarily. If someone is very humble, not arrogant, not thinking of themselves as great accomplished devotees because they're following the principles, therefore they are better than anybody else. So if that mentality of better than anybody else is not present, if there's humility, genuine humility, then those devotees will not fall into that trap of fanaticism and sectarianism. Then as they advance, like on Ratha Yatra, after years and years and years later, they become very sweet and very mellow devotees. Not only my observation, I spoke with other devotees. Did you meet that person? He was so fanatical. And now he is so nice and sweet and mellow and loving. And he said, yes, I met him and have experienced the same. I was surprised how nice and sweet and mellow this devotee has become. So why is it that by spiritual advancement, this fanaticism and sectarianism is disappearing? Because if we advance in spiritual life, our faith grows. At the beginning, it's just us and putting a fence around us to protect our faith. But our faith becomes so big that the fence needs to be also bigger and bigger and bigger. And eventually that fence will encompass the entire world. Because if our faith has become so strong, how strong? As strong as lines on a rock. Sometimes we find some rocks, there are lines on it. Some quartz or some natural lines in the rock, in the granite. Now, if our faith becomes as strong as those lines on a rock, it cannot be challenged by nothing. Nothing can challenge our faith. So with a strong, unchallengeable faith, we can accommodate the whole world. If there are opposing elements, people who have a different faith, we can accommodate that, no problem. It doesn't threaten our faith, because our faith is so strong. Nothing can threaten it. How does it become so strong? By years and years and years of chanting Hare Krishna and cultivating humility, tolerance, giving respect to all, not expecting any respect for ourselves, and that faith becomes like the lines on a rock. And that fence, we're fencing our newfound faith, that fence is completely disappearing. We are not challenged if we meet with someone of a different faith, maybe Muslim, maybe Christian, Hindu, or maybe someone not ISKCON, someone from a different sampradaya, some different temples, completely different scenarios, or even atheists. We are not challenged immediately. We preach to them, but our preaching will be in a way to help them progress further on the spiritual path. They have come some way in the religious activities, even though these religious activities may be more or less ritualistic. We can help them to overcome and those ritualistic achievements and to look a little bit deeper beyond the ritualistic. Why are we doing these rituals? until we can instill in them a little bit of love of God. But in order to instill in others love of God, we must have it ourselves. And not feeling insecure in our conviction because someone else is thinking differently. So these are important points. Renunciation, it's not for the sake of renunciation. Renunciation will come naturally if we truly advance in Krishna consciousness. By true spiritual advancement, humility will come, arrogance will disappear, tolerance will come, giving respect to others without expecting respect in return. All these beautiful qualities will come. And renunciation will come automatically. We have spoken last week of an example of the neighbor has a beautiful red sports car on his driveway with keys in and door open. If we don't remember, we have forgotten this is a neighbor's car. This car has a relationship with my neighbor. Then we think, oh, that's with my car. I'll drive it around. Belongs to nobody. So that's a problem. So we need to see everything in relation to Krishna. If we see everything in relation to Krishna, the neighbor's car, we see in relation to the neighbor. Oh, it's a neighbor's car. As soon as we remember this is a neighbor's car, we wouldn't touch it. Likewise, as soon as we remember everything what we see and touch and hear, and all things in this material world are connected to Krishna. In fact, they are Krishna's property. It's Krishna's property. Just as a car is a neighbor's property, everything in this material world is Krishna's property. Then this mentality, it's my property. I worked for it, so it's my property. That's not the case. It's never our property. Then this mentality will help us advance in Krishna consciousness. We'll remember everything is in connection with Krishna. It belongs to Krishna. Everything is Krishna's property. Now, naturally, renunciation will be the result. Not renunciation that we don't eat anymore, we don't look at anything anymore, we don't touch anything anymore. That's not renunciation. Or as Krishna says in Bhagavad Gītā, the true yogi is not the one who doesn't light a fire and so on. Because that misconception is there. I'm a renunciate, so I shouldn't light a fire. I will only eat fruits from the tree. I will not cook. That is true renunciation. No. What is renunciation? That is a good question. Renunciation means, the true meaning of renunciation is not that not lighting a fire and so on. The true renunciation means not using anything in our own self-interest, but using everything what we come across in connection with Krishna. It's different. If I want to renounce, without that knowledge, I may think I should fast. I should not eat. But I have that knowledge that true renunciation means only accepting anything in connection with Krishna. Okay, food. Okay, I'll offer it to Krishna. then I can eat it and take the remnants of Krishna prasadam. So in this way, it's connected with Krishna, and I consciously connected with Krishna. And then I can partake with that knowledge, with that realization, I can partake of the remnants. That's a proper way. And anything which is not in connection with Krishna, of course, everything is in connection with Krishna, but anything which we don't see the connection with Krishna, let's put it like that. We don't make the connection with Krishna, that should be rejected. If there's anything we are not consciously seeing the connection with Krishna, we'll have nothing to do with that. We only have to do with things which are consciously connected with Krishna. Consciously means we make that connection. We have to make that connection. Everything is connected with Krishna, of course. But we, in our consciousness, we have to make that connection with Krishna. That is called Krishna consciousness. Constantly, in the consciousness that everything is connected with Krishna. And then we can touch anything. We can light a fire, for cooking, we can do this, and we can do so many things. Because it's not anymore for our personal enjoyment, separate from Krishna, but it's in the service of Krishna. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada explains here throughout Bhagavad Gītā in every chapter, devotional service to Lord Krishna is explained. That's exactly what devotional service is. To consciously connect everything to Krishna. To serve Krishna, with whatever comes our way. So that is renunciation, tyaga, through renunciation. And now Arjuna wants to know what is a renounced order of life, sannyasa. So the sannyasi, he is a renouncer, is exactly that person we have just explained, who renounces anything which is not connected with Krishna, which is Maya. Maya, the very definition of Maya is illusion, that which is not connected to Krishna in our consciousness. In our consciousness. If we see, touch, hear anything without connection to Krishna, that is Maya. Because as soon as we lose the connection with Krishna, we want to enjoy it. That is certainly the illusory energy. We want to enjoy it. Like with a car. We started off with a neighbor's car. As soon as we don't see the connection with a neighbor, we want to enjoy it. What a nice car. Let me drive. The key is there. Everything is there. Welcome, Amrita Radhe Mataji. So, says the renounced order of life. Renounced order of life, or sannyas, is not just a formal change of dress. It's saffron robes and get a danda, a stick in our hand. That is the external symbols. Srila Prabhupada often spoke of his householder sannyasis. What does that mean? Householders are not in the renounced order of life. They're dressed in white. They're not carrying a danda. They have so many family affairs to take care of. So why is Srila Prabhupada say Grihastha sannyasi? Because if someone has renounced the propensity to enjoy separately of Krishna, in forgetfulness of Krishna, like with a neighbor's car, I want to enjoy his car, forgetfulness that it belongs to the neighbor, and that needs to be renounced, that mentality. So not the things needs to be renounced, the objects, the mentality need to be renounced. And naturally, someone in renunciation, he has no business of driving fancy cars around, except if it would be for Krishna. So there was a reporter, a news reporter, when Srila Prabhupada was present, he criticized her. Why you have so many cars in your society, in your Krishna consciousness society? Why you have so many cars? You enjoying so many cars? Srila Prabhupada said, yes, we have many cars, and we're loading them with books, and we distribute those books all over the world. So these cars are employed in the service of Krishna. I have seen it. Still today, anybody can see these cars going out. In Germany at the time, they had this Toyota Hiace minivan with loads of loading space behind, and three people could sit in front. And they had converted this Toyota Hiace with boxes, halfway up till the window, boxes with lids. And you open the lids of the boxes, and they were full of books inside. Full of books. So these were Sankirtan vans. Many. The devotees went in all different towns and villages and would stay outside and come back on the weekend or every second week to the temple to get new books. And the devotees lived actually very simple. They took a shower in the morning with a bucket of cold water, winter or summer. So that is also a type of renunciation. And the devotees were very fanatical in these days also. It was looked down on anybody who took a warm shower. The bathroom with shower cubicles. So you had to be a real renouncer. Take a cold shower. Of course, cold shower is very healthy. Very, very healthy. So some of the new bhaktas, they took a warm shower and then went out, and the next one came in and he felt the floor was warm. Oh yes, you took a warm shower. So these things have been going on. If we're more advanced, we will be very strict with ourselves and very understanding and lenient with others. So that's sannyas, the renounced order, not a mere ritual. And another example which highlights the same point. Many of the devotees have been rewarded sannyas. And these were Lokanath Maharaj's godbrothers. But he hadn't. He was perhaps one of the few who didn't take the formal sannyas. So one day he approached Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada, everybody has got sannyas, can you also give me sannyas? Give me sannyas means to formally give sannyas in a ceremony with fire yagya. Sannyas vows are given, the cloth is given, a set of saffron cloth is given, the danda is given. It's like with initiation, a new name is given, and the beads are given, and the fire and mantras and chanting and lots of Hare Krishna and Hare Bol and prasadam distributed afterwards. So that's a formality. So he asked her, enough sannyas. And you give me sannyas. Sannyas is given from the spiritual master. So Srila Prabhupada said, oh, you cannot. You're already living like a sannyasi. There is no need of giving you sannyas. He didn't expect this answer. And then he insisted. And eventually Srila Prabhupada said, oh, you want to formally be given sannyas? And that's what he said, yes. So Srila Prabhupada didn't think it was very important, the formality. It was just a formality. The real renunciation is in the heart. If someone is a householder and he is renounced within his heart, meaning renounced to the point, it's very difficult in the Grihastha ashram, particularly because one is living in such close proximity with the opposite sex, with his wife. But very strictly speaking, a householder will be so renounced that he will only engage in sexual activity with his wife in order to propagate children. People nowadays think that's impossible. It's not impossible. Not impossible. If the Krishna consciousness is so strong on both sides, husband and wife. After all, sex life is meant for procreation, producing nice Krishna conscious children. And the rest, besides of this is sanskarification. So this is a strict interpretation. Nowadays, one can be happy if someone stays in marriage. Never mind what they're doing behind closed doors, but not leaving one's wife or husband and having affairs and so on. So that is already a progress nowadays. But strictly speaking, sex life is for procreation of children. When Srila Prabhupada explains that to his disciples, and they were shocked, Westerners who came from a hippie background, where the motto was flower power, love, unrestricted sex life. So that was the hippie mentality. And then Srila Prabhupada spoke of only sex life if you want a child. Meaning, if you want 2 children in your marriage, twice you can have sex life. Oh, when the devotees heard that, they were shocked. And they said, Srila Prabhupada, if it's like that, it's better to forget about the whole thing. Srila Prabhupada said, yes, that would be best. That would be best. So many things. So this is the renounced order of life, and this is renunciation, spoken about Grihastha sannyasis, inside renunciation. And the formality is not that important. Srila Prabhupada certainly didn't put a great deal of importance to that formality. Like with initiation, also Shastra says one should take initiation, but Srila Prabhupada, he spoke to one devotee, your enthusiasm and your for distributing books and preaching Krishna consciousness, that is your real initiation. My touch means doing the formality. My touch is just a formality. So we can see in this. Srila Prabhupada wasn't very giving great importance to the formality. He gave importance to the essence. That's important, the essence. Formality will come in due course. Like in his own life, when he met his spiritual master, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada, he considered his initiation the moment he met him and accepted him in his heart as his spiritual master. That was his real initiation. So formality of fire and yagya and name given and beads and all that came some 10 years later. But Srila Prabhupada always considered that acceptance within his heart as his real initiation. So same message. The essence is important, not the formality. So formality may have also to come here, but that is not the most important thing. Or he gives an example. You go to school for learning. Famous example also. That's the main point of going to school for learning. The admission to school, that is just formality, the official thing. That's formality. But the learning, that's the main purpose. Those are many examples. So here Srila Prabhupada explains the Bhagavatam is actually finished in 17th chapters. Also we have 18th chapter. The 18th chapter is a summary, like the second chapter is also a summary of the topics to be discussed. The topics to come. In Bhagavad Gītā is touching in the second chapter on a various number of topics. But the 18th chapter is a summary of the topics which have been discussed before. In every chapter, devotional service is the ultimate goal of life, is discussed again and again and again. Even the yoga chapters, the 6th chapter, in essence, the last verse of the yoga chapter is the most prominent conclusion of the whole different types of yoga, Ashtanga yoga and that yoga and Hatha yoga is discussed, and all the different Buddhi yoga and Karma yoga and Jnana yoga, all discussed. But in the last verse of the 6th chapter, the yoga chapter, Krishna says, those who abide in me and taking me as the goal of life and serving me in devotional service, these are the best yogis. So basically Lord Krishna is saying the devotees, without going through all the different yoga processes, what to speak of asanas and breathing exercises, and Srila Prabhupada gave sometimes a very funny comment of pressing the nose here and pressing the nose there. He didn't find that, he rather found that funny. Because they're doing that. If you do some yoga exercises, you press your nose, hold your left nostril, and you breathing in, and then you hold your right nostril and breathing out, and all this breathing exercise and Hatha yoga. So Srila Prabhupada made quite fun of it. Pressing nose here, pressing nose there. No. Devotional service is superior to everything. All the goals of these yoga processes are achieved by devotional service. And in fact, the yogi who doesn't come by his yoga exercises and yoga practice and his meditation, if he doesn't come to the point of devotional service, he is not successful in yoga. Really strong point. The yogi can only be successful if at the end of all that he comes to devotional service. That's a successful yogi. So here, Lord Krishna explains to Arjuna the different yoga processes, but because Arjuna wanted to know, and we want to know, there are many people who are attracted by the yoga process. There are many people who are stopping with the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gītā. They don't read any further. They think, okay, what's Bhagavad Gītā about? Sometimes people ask, what's Bhagavad Gītā about? It's all about yoga. No, it's not. There is one chapter and there is reference to yoga, but the Bhagavad Gītā is about devotional service. More than that, about pure devotional service. That's what Bhagavad Gītā is about. After the 6th chapter, yoga is finished. Not anymore properly discussed. Other topics are discussed. Knowledge, confidential knowledge, most confidential knowledge, all this. Here Srila Prabhupada says in all chapters of the Gita, devotional service is discussed. And the same point is summarized in the 18th chapter. The most confidential knowledge. And here Srila Prabhupada writes, in the first 6 chapters of the Gita, stress was given on devotional service, and he quotes a verse, Yoginam api sarvesham matgaten tanda atmana shratavan bhakshate yomam same yuktatmano manaha. Famous verse, key verse, Yoginam api sarvesham. And that is the last verse which I spoke of the 6th chapter, of the yoga chapter. And of all yogis, different yogis have been explained. Hatha, karma, dhyana yogis, all ashtanga yogis. And of all yogis, and Krishna says, in conclusion of everything spoken about yoga, the one with great faith who abides in me, thinks of me within himself, always thinking of Krishna within ourselves. What's that? Manmana bhavamat bhakto madhyajimam namaskuru. Always think of me. Worship me. Offer your obeisances to me. So this is the most confidential topic. So there, Lord Krishna says the same thing. Of all the yogis, the one who thinks of me within himself, not sometimes, but all the time, and renders transcendental loving service to me. Lord Krishna is describing the devotee. He's the most intimately united with me in yoga, and he's the highest of all. Yeah, that's Lord Krishna's conclusion. He's the most intimately united with me in yoga. He's the highest of all the yogis. Not the one who is practicing renunciation, fasting, this and that, and sitting in difficult postures and breathing exercise. No, the one who always thinks of Krishna within himself and renders devotional service, loving devotional service to me. He's the most intimately united with me in yoga. Yoga means to connect. Connect with what? To connect with Krishna. And intimately, most intimately connected with Krishna. Krishna says, this is the highest yogi. So this verse is quoted here. Then in the next 6 chapters of Bhagavad Gītā, pure devotional service and its nature and activities were discussed. And in the last 6 chapters, knowledge and renunciation are discussed. And Srila Prabhupada says it was concluded that all acts performed in conjunction with Krishna are represented by the words Om Tat Sat, which indicate Vishnu, the Supreme Person. And furthermore, this third part of Bhagavad Gītā has shown that devotional service and nothing else is the ultimate purpose of life. So the purpose of life is not economic development, religious life, highest life, economic development, enjoying one's senses, and then moksha, liberation. That's not the purpose of life. Dharma, artha, kama, moksha. No. From the material point of view, this is highly esteemed, but that's not the purpose of life. Devotional service, here Srila Prabhupada says, and nothing else. That is the ultimate purpose. And not only that, it has been established by previous acharyas, by Brahma-sutra or Vedanta-sutra. And then Srila Prabhupada has a go at the impersonalists. They think themselves to have a monopoly on the knowledge of Vedanta-sutra, because the impersonalists are discussing Vedanta-sutra exclusively. As we have heard many times, Prakashananda Saraswati and his 10,000 disciples, they were all studying Vedanta-sutra, and they were criticizing Lord Chaitanya. This is also sannyasi. Why is he dancing and chanting like a madman, sentimentalist? He should better also study Vedanta-sutra. Of course, Lord Chaitanya eventually defeated him, and they all surrendered and became devotees and were chanting and dancing like Lord Chaitanya. And here Srila Prabhupada says, but actually Vedanta-sutra is meant for understanding devotional service, not grammatical jugglery and squeezing out some meaning. As Krishna says, I am the composer of Vedanta-sutra, and now I am the knower. Vedanta-krit Vedavid eva chaham. That's also explained, the 15th chapter. Then Srila Prabhupada speaks again about the second chapter, where a synopsis of the whole Bhagavad Gītā is given. And in this 18th chapter, which Dharm selected his first text of the 18th chapter, the summary of all instructions is given. And as a summary of all instructions, the purpose of life is indicated by renunciation to attain the transcendental position above the three modes of material nature. We know the three modes of material nature: Sattva-gun, goodness; Raja-gun, passion; and Tama-gun, ignorance. So we have to rise above these three modes. That is another purpose why these four regulations are there. Because sinful life means Tama-gun, at best Raja-gun. But one cannot make spiritual advancement in these lower modes of nature, except one meets a pure devotee. Then turbocharged one's spiritual progress. That's a different story. So one has to come to the transcendental position, which is beyond the three modes of material nature, which is a liberated position. We come back to the same famous verse, Brahma Bhuta Prasanatma na Shochati na Kangshati, Sarva Sarveshu Bhuteshu, Sama Sarvetu Bhuteshu. So, Prasanatma, on that Brahma Bhuta platform, one becomes fully joyful, Prasanatma. Na Shochati na Kangshati, one does not lament anymore or hanker for anything. The whole world is lamenting and hankering every single minute. If I had this and that, I would be happier. But then I'm lamenting, I lost this and that. Constantly lamentation and constant anxiety and hankering for what we have not got. We're lamenting for what we have lost, and we're hankering for what we don't have. That's the summary of material life. Everybody is in that. Everybody. Hankering and lamenting all the time. And if there is nothing to lament, then we're lamenting over the weather. It's too hot. When it's less hot, it's too cold. Too much rain, too little rain. There's always lamentation about the weather. But lamentation is lamentation. Constantly lamenting, constantly hankering. Lamentation means we're living in the past. Past, our consciousness in the past. The past is gone. What's the use of lamenting? If I had done differently, I would be in a better situation. What's the point of that? It's gone. We're living in the present. The past is gone. We made the wrong choice. Now we're reaping the result. Okay, so let's live with the result. It was our choice. Let's learn from it. But lamentation will not help us. In fact, it will just fester in the consciousness in a negative way. And hankering. Hankering is the future. What's the future? However the future may turn out, we are not in charge. Krishna is in charge. Whatever comes our way, we're hankering. If I would have this and that and this situation, that situation, then I would be really happy. That never happens. That never arrives. Even if we get exactly that situation we were hankering for, still we're not happy. We're hankering for something else, and something else, and something else, and something else. It is a constant chain of hankering for something which we don't have. And when we have, we don't appreciate it, and then we lose it, and then we're lamenting for it. So it's just all hankering and lamenting. That's material life. But on that platform, on that transcendental platform, which can be achieved by renunciation, by true renunciation, renouncing our enjoyment spirit, that's a true renunciation. Then we come to that liberated platform, and when there is no more hankering and no more lamenting, then we are prasanatma. We are joyful. It's the complete logic. If we give up our lamentation and we give up our hankering, we must be joyful. Be happy. I'm okay. Not only what people say, oh, you okay? Yes, I'm okay, but they're actually not okay. Because they're hankering for something and they're lamenting for something. They're not okay. And if you ask the drunkard on the street, how are you? I'm okay. He's sitting on the ground, he has no money, he's intoxicated, he's dirty, unwashed, and he thinks I'm okay. That's the illusory energy. Even the pig who's eating the stool, the pig thinks I'm okay. You know the example of Lord Indra, who had been cursed to be a pig. When after some time, Narada Muni visited him. Lord Indra, you in the form of a pig, come back to your heavenly abode. And Indra said, no, I'm all right. In fact, why are you coming here? You're just after my wife. That was the thinking. So whatever situation we are placed in, as a cat, as a dog, as a pig, we think I'm all right. But actually we're not all right. Because a pig in the next moment will be slaughtered in the slaughterhouse and eaten by someone. So we're not all right. As long as we're in this material world, we are not all right. Because we have to undergo repeated birth and death and disease also, and old age. If we have not direct experience with old age, we just see older people on the street or wherever, then we don't really know what old age is. Old age means at one point we cannot do anymore. The body doesn't allow us to do what we really want to do. Old people are sitting in the wheelchair. They want to walk, like they have always walked their whole life, but they can't anymore. There are many things they cannot do. And at the end, they're just like a vegetable, just lying down and waiting for death to come. So old age is not fun. And disease, we have all experienced the COVID lockdown, or we had the COVID ourselves. That's not fun. Walking around with masks and keeping so much distance and constantly disinfecting our hands and not getting in contact with anybody else. So disease is not fun. And if we are unlucky and we have cancer, then getting chemotherapy. So many chemicals are injected into us that we feel sick all the time. Our hair falls out. Everything is just, we are poisoned in the hope the cancer will be poisoned too. So disease is not fun. And birth and death, we have forgotten. We have forgotten how painful birth is. How painful the situation of the embryo in the womb is. Lord Chaitanya describes the situation of the child in the womb of the mother in great length. He describes it to his mother, Sachi Devi. It's suffering from the beginning to end, to be cramped up in the womb. It's a very tiny, small space. And you cannot turn around. The child tries to turn around and kick sometimes, and no, you can't. You're in the position with your legs against your knees, against your chest, and for 9 months, it's a huge, long time. And then, if we don't understand birth is suffering, what's the first thing when the child takes birth? It cries. He, she cries. So painful it is. It's not a cry of joy. Haribol. No, it's a painful cry. And death? It's not fun either. Very painful. You have to leave everything behind. Those who are very dear to us, family members, we are conscious. We are going now. And I have to set affection for my mother, for my brother, for my sisters, my father. I cannot get that anymore. Cut off that affection from friends. Cut off all the beautiful activities we have done. We have so many memories, but everything will be erased. Even our memories will be erased. We have to completely leave everything. We have worked all our lives for this pension, for this financial cushion. So hard we worked. Sweating. And at the end, we'll have to all give it up for nothing. Because we cannot take it with us. Next birth will be a blank slate. We have worked so hard for our knowledge as well. So hard in school. Get the GCSEs, A-levels, university, BA. And PhD even, doctors, this and that, and so many letters in front of our name. And we have been very proud of our academic achievement. At the end, we leave it all behind. All of that is gone. And eventually, we have to leave our body behind too. That body who has been our best friend. All throughout life, that body who has given us so much pleasure through the senses, so much pleasure through the eyes, through the touch, through hearing, through tasting, through smelling. So accustomed we were, the senses were so dear to us. They gave us happiness, they gave us pleasure. And at the end, we have to leave that body behind too. And we don't know where we're going. Where will Krishna place us? What's our next birth like? What kind of parents we will get? What species of life we will be even born in? Will we remember Krishna or not? What country? What skin color? What ethnic grouping? All of that are not in our power. Material nature will decide. Of course, as devotees, truly devotees, we guarantee the human form of life. At least that. A human form of life. But where? In Africa? In Alaska? In the Arab desert? In Russia? In North Korea? Nobody, nowhere it says in Bhagavad Gītā, your next birth will be in India. Your next birth will be in the UK, in America, in the Western richer countries. Nowhere. We have no choice. So all this, birth, death, old age, disease, is forced upon us. Wouldn't that be a reason we shall become fully Krishna conscious and get out of this place? In fact, the devotee is not lamenting when he leaves his body. He's joyful. He knows where he's going if he has advanced. If he's not advanced, we may have some doubts. What will happen? I have heard all that, but do I really believe it? At the time of death, I get my doubts. But the devotee is fixed in devotional service and Krishna consciousness. He happily, death is coming, he happily embraces death. I'm going back home to Godhead. Nothing to lament about. I'm going home. Bye-bye. I had enough here. I've enough experienced. I went through it all. Now I'm going. Finally, I'm going home. Okay, we're running almost out of time. So there is quite a bit more. Not that much more. Now, okay, let's have some questions. Amit, questions? Do you remember, question is a sign of intelligence. What's your question, Amit?
No, sorry, Prabhupada. I mean, I understand this. I don't really have too many questions.
Not too many. One will be good enough. Amrita Radhimataji, your microphone is unmuted. You have a question. You always have a question. That's very much appreciated.
Prabhu, actually, I was thinking about how you were saying that two things actually. One about there's no guarantee where we will get the human birth. But in Bhagavad Gītā, I think there's a verse or two verses which say that if someone is somewhat advanced, they will get birth in an aristocratic family with a lot of money. But if someone is very advanced, then they will get birth in a family of pure devotees. That is one thing. Another thing is, I want to
Transcendentalists.
know what are the
Yes.
transcendentalists. Right. So my question basically is, how do we basically, who is an advanced devotee? Like, what are the symptoms? How will I know whether I'm an advanced devotee or not?
That's a
So
very
that is
good
my
question. How to know who is an advanced devotee and how to know how advanced we are. That's even more difficult because devotees don't think of themselves as advanced. They think of themselves as the most fallen, or at least not advanced. So how to recognize someone who's advanced? Someone who's advanced, Drinada Pisunitana Tarora Pisa Hishnuna Amanina Manadina Kirtaniya Sadahari will be someone who is more humble than the grass or the straw in the street, more tolerant than the tree, is giving respect to others without expecting to be respected in return. So that is a sign of advancement. And as we have started off, you probably weren't there yet, an advanced devotee is not fanatical. Is not a fanatical devotee who has to guard his little faith. An advanced devotee is non-sectarian. That's a definition of an advanced soul. He's very broad-minded, very liberal. He's very strict with himself, but very liberal with everybody else. So these are some symptoms of an advanced devotee. An advanced devotee is following the rules and regulations, but he is not motivated by the rules and regulations. He is motivated by love of Krishna. That is a motor of his inspiration. Love of Krishna. He's doing everything due to some affection or more affection or more and more affection and love of Krishna to whatever decrease. Love of Krishna is not an on and off switch. Love of Krishna can increase, and more. There's never ending how deep love of Krishna can go. So, if someone is motivated, what makes him tick in life is love of Krishna to various degrees, and not fixated on his sadhana, although he will follow the sadhana automatically. It's an expression of love for Krishna and is an expression of setting an example to others. He will not drop his sadhana. He doesn't need the sadhana. The sadhana is like a ladder. Once we are on the roof of the building, we don't need the ladder anymore. But we'll keep it. We'll keep it. So others can also climb up, and we need to set an example. But our motivation, if we truly Krishna conscious and we have developed some love for Krishna, that is the motivating factor. That keeps us going. Love of Krishna. Not the sadhana. The sadhana is just there to come to the level of love of Krishna. All right? So that is an important point. So it is difficult to see from the outside, not easy to see, if someone is motivated by love of Krishna, or if someone is motivated by his sadhana, by the rules and regulations. Very difficult to see. Because even the advanced person, he will follow the rules and regulations. So how to distinguish? We'll have to. The sectarian aspect is easier to distinguish. Someone who is advanced, he will be non-sectarian. He will not say, you can visit that temple, you can see that Krishna, but not that Krishna. So this is very neophyte mentality. He'll be very broad-minded. He will not say only Krishna consciousness and everything else is wrong. No, Srila Prabhupada never said that. Srila Prabhupada was so liberal. He said, Jesus Christ is our spiritual master. Not like some neophyte, new devotees, or Christianity, that is, forget about it. These are all that's not to be taken seriously. They're all wrong. We have the absolute truth, only we. An advanced devotee will never say like that. We respect all spiritual paths and we help people. Srila Prabhupada said, when the parents were afraid, now my children take to Krishna consciousness. So they have been brought up as Christians. Now they're changing their religion. Srila Prabhupada said, no, it's not like that. If someone becomes Krishna conscious, he becomes a better Christian. Like that. He becomes a better Christian. We help people to become better. If someone is within, firmly fixed in the Muslim religion, we're not necessarily saying, okay, give up Muslim and become an ISKCON follower or something. No, we won't say that. Become a better Muslim. Okay, you can be a Muslim. You don't have to eat meat necessarily as a Muslim. The Quran apparently says you can eat meat. That was meant for particular circumstances, of course. But the Quran is not saying you must eat meat. In order to be a good Muslim, you must eat meat. Nowhere is that found in the Quran. But we take the excuse. We actually like the taste of the blood of the animals, certain people. And then they're justifying that. No, the Muslims can eat meat. I spoke with some Muslim at discussion. I said, does the Quran allow to eat meat? Yes. Does the Quran says you have to eat meat? No. So why are you eating meat? Why are you causing so much suffering to the animals? And he had no answer. Then I told him, well, you just like the taste of blood. Attached to the taste of blood. And justifying it with religion. And this counts for every religion. Christianity, Hinduism, everything. And for neophyte devotees, even in Krishna consciousness. Justified. So, how to see if someone is advanced? To properly see if someone is advanced, to truly see, you have to be advanced yourself. Yeah, that's a tricky situation. We have to be advanced ourselves in order to see how advanced someone else is. Okay, does that answer your question a little bit? We could speak for a great length about that, Amrita Rati Mataji. But I think we have to finish. Yeah. Amit is already gone. Did that answer?
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you.
Oh, which one you here? Okay.
No, I'm just came. I came late, Prabhu, from work. Well, Amrita Radhe was listening to your lecture. So she joined also late because I came more or less. Quite late.
Yeah.
She was there. She just went with Tejas to change his nappy. But yes, she heard. She heard about what you said about her question.
Everything is all right on your side?
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you. Everything is fine. This Saturday we went to London Rath Yatra. Sunday. We went on Saturday. So we joined
Hari Bol,
London
Hari
Rath
Bol.
Yatra.
I'm sure you had a wonderful experience. I couldn't go.
Yes, it was a wonderful experience there. And this was the first time we went to London Rath Yatra. Last year we went to Leicester Rath Yatra where we also met you there also.
So you're giving your mercy by your presence, you spread it out. Sometimes London gets a bit of your mercy, sometimes Leicester like that. But please give us a mercy on the 3rd of August and come.
Prabhu will be coming to get your mercy and your blessings. I am nobody to give mercy. Definitely not. But I'll come. I'll come as a
if you have
Absolutely.
if you have any flowers in your garden, or you can buy some flowers, make a garland
Yes, yes, Prabhu.
for the Maharajas,
Okay.
2 Maharajas.
Okay, okay,
I will arrange, I have already made some preliminary arrangement of getting 100 marigold flowers from someone, and then our Rabbi will make 2 garlands, hopefully long enough. We really want garlands almost up to the knees.
Okay.
And
Yeah, we'll make.
there are 3 devotees from France who are coming with the 2 Maharajas. It would be nice if everybody gets a garland, not only the Maharajas, but the 3 devotees as well. And then there is Narada Prabhu and Neera Mataji. If she could also, that would be really, really. I mean, it reminds me so much when I first came to India long time ago, in 78, a year after Prabhupada departed. And there were a group of German devotees coming with Air India, arriving in Calcutta airport, and we were at least 25, 30 devotees. And everyone was received with a garland of marigolds from the local Mayapur devotees who came with. I mean, it was beautiful. I still remember that. What a gesture of love that was. Okay, so we're speaking about 3, 5, 6, 7.
Prabhu, you're breaking up.
8 garlands. That would be great. At least
Hare
5.
Krishna, Prabhu, you broke up, your voice broke up. How many?
What? How many garlands? At least 3 from your side. 5 would be best. Can you hear me? Okay, down. There lost the connection. Here we stop. Are you also coming down on the 3rd of August?
Yeah, I'll come. Yeah.
Yes.
Can I bring some garlands as well?
Yes, that would be nice.
Well, marigold.
Any flowers. Roses, marigold, chrysanthemums, doesn't matter.
Yeah, I tried to grow Tulsi Devi. It didn't work out, so I get some more seeds.
Are you speaking of Tulsi garland?
No. I was trying to grow Tulsi Devi.
Oh, you start to grow Tulsi. Yes, do that.
Yeah,
Very good.
That won't be ready.
Yes, grow Tulsi.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of chanting to Tulsi, a lot of bhakti, and Tulsi will grow.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you for being here. See you on Saturday. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.